Hi, my name is Charm Loreria, and the subject I'll be doing my presentation on are the Greek caryatids. Now, you might be wondering, what is a caryatid? Well, a caryatid is a type of column. So these are actually ones on the Erechtheum in Athens. And as you can see, instead of the regular column, the column itself is that of a human figure. So, how do caryatids differ from other types of columns? So they are similar to the Doric column, whereas they have a base that goes straight into the floor, and they have a capital of that of a squished kind of cushion. So as you can see here, so they have like that squished cushion appearance. They have a base that goes straight down into the floor. But when it comes to the column itself, they are very, 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 very different structurally. So let's go back to that first picture. And these are actually just recreations. They aren't the actual like original ones, but we'll touch on that later. So as you can see, every single one of these caryatids is posed in contrapposto. And you might think that's kind of weird. Shouldn't they be something that's structural and supportive instead of something that's fluid? Well, the contrapposto actually serves a structural purpose as well as an aesthetic one. So you see how they have one leg jutting out there? As opposed to the regular sculptures that are in contrapposto, like normally either they're in the nude or the draping itself is very like light and feathery. There's no gap there. So it's a solid figure, and even in between the leg and the weight bearing leg, there is absolutely no gap whatsoever, and the column itself is made up of the drapery. So you can see really the main column right there. You can see the contrapposto figure. So this serves a really big structural purpose as it gives the column more surface area and allows for the weight to be distributed more evenly. And it also gives it sort of a like optical illusion-esque appearance because as you can see, this column right here and then this column right here, they have different legs that are out. And that acts sort of like an optical illusion because the person that's viewing the columns will be down there on the floor and they'll be looking up. And the two opposing legs, this is a better picture here. The two opposing legs give it more of a structural appearance because you're looking at that and you think, okay, that looks stable, it's about to fall down. And let's just go back one more time. You can see the fluting on their clothing, similar to that of any other column. You can see the fluting and how that actually adds to the optical illusion of it being more structurally sound. Now, this also serves an aesthetic purpose, but I think that it's very cool that it doubles as a structural one as well, and it gives the illusion of stability. And the contrapposto, if you look, it actually ends. I'm sorry, I'm flipping back and forth a lot. Let's go back. Here, this will work. It actually ends right at that chest area where their clothing is more bunched up. So you see it, and they're leaning, and then the leaning is gone, and they're just straight up and down. And that is another structural thing because it actually makes them look like if you're down there, so say you're down here on the floor, it makes them look bigger than they actually are because it's a sort of forced perspective on the caryatids. So you have not only forced perspective, you have an optical illusion of them being sturdier because of the two different legs, and you have the fluting, which acts as a structural element as well as an optical illusionary element, and the contrapposto, which gives more area and it gives more stability. And this is just so genius because they took these beautiful statues and they found a way to make them manageable and to make them something that is structurally sound and something that's structurally supportive. So, on the history of these ones specifically, so these are the caryatids at the Erechtheum, which I think somebody already covered the Erechtheum itself, but it is located in Athens. And these, so those back there were replica, these are the actual original ones. These are in the Acropolis Museum right now. And they were originally stolen from the Requiem by, guess who? I think you can. Lord Elgin. And he took them and brought them back to England. Actually, I think he took these ones to Scotland. Yeah, he took these ones to Scotland and he put them in his house there. as a form of decoration. And as you can see here, there's one missing. And I'll give you 3 guesses to where she is at the British Museum. So there's 5 out of the original 6, and this picture is really just so jarring because you can see where she belongs in the spot from her missing sister. So as you can see as well, they are all missing their arms, and the arms would have originally been holding some sort of vessels for pouring libations. So like the sacred oils or the wines and stuff that they would have, and they would act as an offering to whoever the temple is for. So they would serve a structural purpose, a aesthetic purpose, as well as a religious purpose in the Caryatids. And back on the topic of Lord Elgin, in 1979, the 5 original ones were moved back to the Old Acropolis Museum, and the ones actually there on the Requiem were replaced by exact replicas of them. So these are the original ones, the ones there now are the exact replicas. But one of the 5 was unable to be returned, and it's honestly a miracle that these 5 got back there to begin with. So this one, as you can see, was pretty damaged, but here are some recreations as to what they would have probably looked like. Oh, there's the one at the British Museum. So this is perfect for showing off the structure because as you can see, her leg is very clearly jutted out, and there's fluting as well as drapery. So the drapery acts as fluting in her other leg, and as you can see, there's no space. The clothing fills up the entire area, and it acts as a support. So it's actually a very sturdy column, although it is beautiful and it's the shape of a woman. It's sturdy and it's there, and it has a structural element. So she actually belongs there. And here you can see the capital really well. So you can see sort of like a Doric one, whereas it has the squished cushion effect, and like the Doric, they just go straight into the ground. Here is a recreation of what they would have looked like. So there are the vessels in their hands for pouring the libations, all colorful and painted up, although I'm not too sure. So this is a representation done in CGI of the ones at the Erechtheion in Athens, but I'm not too sure because their hair is different. So these 3 right here, they have plates that go down their back, or plaits that go down their back. I don't have a picture of the back, but they have like long braids. Then she just has the braids right here, and they probably would have been a wig. So they have those all around. They don't have the 2 different types of hair. So I think whoever did this wasn't really like looking too closely at it. Then again, you can see the different legs right there. And here's a different set of Caryatids. It's not the ones at the Acropolis. These are different ones. But they're holding some libations for the temple. And again, they're all colored up. And here are some other ones. So yeah, I think these are all by the same guy. So I think he just made one form and then copied and pasted it all throughout because these are the exact same and they're just colored differently. So here is a recreation, a different one, and that one is of the specific Caryatids. So as you can see, they have their arms, and then there it is now, put side by side, which is just so cool. I love them colored up and how that looks because you never really get to see that. And here are some recreations done by this one right here is a Roman recreation of a different set of Caryatids. So you can see her hands, her fingers have fallen off. You can see her hands, you can see her arms, you can see the pose very well. And that one's just a Roman recreation of a different set of Caryatids, not the Erechtheion ones. These are different. But here's one at the British Museum that was created by the people at the British Museum of what their exact one would have looked like. So this is what she would have looked like right there. It's an exact replica. And you can see her arms. They have some sort of jewelry on them, holding the libations. And that is at the British Museum. And